So I do not believe in coincidences. Maybe I'm cynical. Maybe I'm jaded. Whatevs. I don't know. But I don't really believe in stuff. If you're a guy and you're dating a girl and her ex-boyfriend just happens to be in town and she doesn't show up last night, I don't think it's a coincidence. She's fooling around on you. And the reality is, when things line up, there is usually a reason. It's my job to pay attention to things lining up. So yesterday, Ian Rappaport, a very good NFL reporter, said he expects New England to use a premium pick on Tom Brady's replacement. Well, they don't have a second-round pick, so that would be their number one pick. Because a premium pick, a third-round, maybe high third-round pick. Now, remember, New England's got 3 third-round picks and a first-round pick and a fourth and a fifth and 4 sixth-round picks. And they're getting compensatory picks next year, so they could give you picks next year and still be okay. So suddenly Ian Rappaport, who used to work for the Boston Herald and still has all sorts of connections there, is saying New England is going to use a pick to get a quarterback. And the name they throw out is Tua. There's also a belief, wink, wink, a belief. He's got it sourced. They could somehow end up with Tua. What really makes this interesting is I get up this morning after Ian Rappaport said that yesterday. He's got a tweet this morning. Lions GM Bob Quinn, a former Patriot employee, and Matt Patricia, by the way, a former Belichick assistant and friend. Ian Rappaport says, yeah, Bob Quinn's had conversations with teams about trading to number 3, draft pick away. This is where the draft starts, folks. So what do you know? Let's add up the dots. A former Boston Herald reporter connected with New England in the last 24 hours reports New England's very interested in Tua and a premium pick and getting a quarterback. And then the next morning, Bob Quinn is saying, we're taking all sorts of calls for the number 3 pick. They used to work together, Bob Quinn, Belichick, Matt Patricia. Let me add this. New England's got a bunch of picks, and New England likes, we see them every year, move up, move down, move up, move down, move up, move down in the draft. They're not the Cincinnati Bengals historically. He's always using draft picks as commodities, and he's trading them, and he's selling them. So, first of all, Jarrett Stidham is not the future. For anybody saying Jarrett Stidham's the future, he's not the future. Let's get that off the table. Now, I do believe they want to get Trevor Lawrence next year or Justin Fields, but they may see Tua as I see Tua. I see Tua as a left-handed Drew Brees. Some injury concerns early in his career. Drew Brees, first year, injury concerns. Tua, college injury concerns. Too good to pass up. All-time accuracy. Too good to pass up. Didn't have to wait, unlike Joe Burrow, for him to be a senior to be any good. So that's how I start my show today. Very, very interesting. And now let's go to the whiny Cleveland Browns. So a couple days ago, a story came out from a radio station in New York. It's very popular. It's called WFAN. Fan. They talk sports. Clever. WFAN. One of their reporters, who I don't know personally, but they have a lot of very talented people, came out and reported. WFAN is the New York Giants station. So there's a lot of the Giants are the talk of that station a lot. The New York Giants and WFAN. They've had a long, long relationship in the city. They have events together and parties together, and they have access. Employees have access that you wouldn't have if you weren't the broadcasting site for a team. So one of the reporters says, Minnesota's looking at OBJ. And the Cleveland Browns just not happy with it. And so that morning when I got the news, I said, this is fascinating. I said, I don't have my sources yet, but I think it's good for Minnesota. I think it's good for OBJ. And I think it's great for Cleveland. I actually think it's great for Cleveland. And then over the course of the day and the next 2 days, I said I had 2 to 3 different sources. I think I know three sources that said it's not going to happen, but it doesn't mean OJ's OBJ's necessarily happy. I'm also told by a source that broke the Tom Brady story to me, OBJ, it's not like he's miserable, but, it's not perfect. So the Cleveland Browns, and they are very upset, their chief strategy officer, Paul DePodesta. Their strategy hasn't been good for several years, so I don't know his job status. But Paul DePodesta confirmed this is nonsense and I'm not happy. Didn't you say that you were really into Freddie Kitchens? Remember that? When guys like me would say it's over. Completely false. These reports are completely false. Paul DePodesta still worked for the organization. When the owner, I said John Dorsey doesn't fit here, he's going to get blown out. That is completely false. You blew him out. Sorry, Cleveland, if we don't believe everything you say. Chief strategy officer. I've watched your strategy. It's not great. Ever? Last 2 decades? Not picking on this guy. But if you want to know why guys like me are skeptical, and I don't think OBJ is getting traded to the Vikings because I trust my sources, but I totally support WFAN reporting something, and let's be honest here. Minnesota said they love Percy Harvins. They wouldn't trade him. They did. Minnesota said Stephon Diggs is in our future. They lied. They traded him. The New York Giants said we won't trade OBJ. They did. And Cleveland is a misinformation factory. Let me give you some facts about OBJ. Nobody thinks he's ending his career there, even you guys in Cleveland. Here's a fact. OBJ wants to win now. He doesn't want a rebuilding process. Cleveland's in a constant rebuilding process. Fact number 3. OBJ, it was never a place, and I talked to him. It was never a place he mentioned. He mentioned the Rams. He mentioned the 49ers. He mentioned the Patriots. He's a Paris, New York, Hollywood guy. He's a Bel Air guy. He's not Burbs of Cleveland guy. And here, again, there's a reason that so many reporters are skeptical of politicians. Because they say things and do the opposite. So reporters, it's very healthy to be skeptical of politicians. There's no organization in the NFL I'm more skeptical of Cleveland. When guys like me came out and said, Freddie Kitchens, it's over. You can read the body language. They ran out. The GM, he is our guy. You literally fired him 12 minutes after the season. So you didn't make your mind up that day. You made your mind up months before. The owner, when people like me banged on John Dorsey, he is the GM of the future. You fired him a minute after the season. So I'm sorry, Cleveland, if your strategy officer and your organization's upset, but when it comes to trades, and I get a lot of information, nobody's ever honest on trades. Now, I don't think OBJ is a great fit in Cleveland, but I do know it's not a perfect spot for him. It's not. He's not going to say that because he wants to be a good teammate. And they know. I mean, they're overcompensating every time they can for OBJ. But, fan bases, I don't pay much attention to them because they're fan short for fanatic. But look in the mirror, Cleveland fans. Your owner lied about your GM lied about your coach. The Giants lied about OBJ. Minnesota twice said I love a receiver and traded him. If you want to know why media are skeptical, and in this case, OBJ I don't think goes to the Vikings. But if this team went 0-3 to start the season, you don't think they're going to make changes? They can get something for OBJ. And you think he's going to end his career there? That's where he doesn't want to be with a rebuilding team. So the skepticism by the media and the reporting by the media is absolutely completely justified. Yeah, people, if you get a call from somebody and it involves OBJ and the Cleveland Browns, don't believe all the denials. It appears everything with Cleveland is misinformation, and OBJ in New York was nothing but information. So if some guy from a New York radio station goes with it and doesn't listen to the doubters and the claimers that it's false, so be it. I'll have his back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.